morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's having a good morning today. Thursday. Work week's almost done for some, beginning for others. I hope the week's been going well. You've been in good spirits, good health, good strength, and just good all around. I just dropped a group of kids off that I've been picking up for the last week. And within this week, me and these kids have, as much as you can really bond being their driver, they all like to laugh and Mr. Michael, yada, 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 and all this type of stuff. So we all laugh and all that. So this morning, I wasn't really paying them any attention this morning. I didn't put no music on, so I let them listen to the radio. They was having a conversation. I had my stuff in my ear. I was listening to some inspirational stuff. So I had that in my ear, and I'm just like chilling, So in the midst of us driving, put this up. I don't want no feedback. In the midst of us driving, I took the headphones out of my ear, and I started listening to their conversation. And, it started off with, what would you do if you won the lottery? They all basically said the same thing. But this one kid, he just kept bringing up his enemies. Kept saying his enemies. Destroy my enemies. Make sure my mama has her house. Give some to the poor. And, make sure I'm good. It's 11-year-old. So, one of the young ladies, she was like, one of the little girls, she was like, you selfish, It was just funny, because she was like, why wouldn't you give all your money to the poor? And he's like, I'm not giving all my money. I just want to say, because it was just funny, because they were arguing hard about that, so I was letting them argue. It was funny. But, the next question came up was, if you had 3 wishes, what would you do with your wishes? First thing that comes out of his mouth is kill my enemies, take care of my mother. Kill my enemies, $5 million, take care of my mom. So the next little girl, she was talking, and she was giving her wishes. After she was done with her wishes, he reiterated his wishes again. So 11-year-old. So I stopped the conversation. I said, hey, y'all. I said, little man, how many enemies do you have? And everybody laughed. All the kids laughed. And he's like, I have enemies. And I said, how many enemies do you have? How old are you? He told me 11. So I said, as an 11-year-old, how many enemies do you have? How many enemies could you possibly have? So he began to tell a story. Some kid threatened him in the school when he was younger, and the kid brought a knife to stab him. And he said the kid, what had happened was the kid wanted to do something to his friend, and word got back to him. And he told on the kid. Well, the word he used was he snitched on the kid. And I corrected him and made sure that, I said, look, man, don't ever put that negative connotation on yourself. You didn't snitch on anybody. You told, because that was the right thing to do. Don't get that mixed up. And he's a smart kid. He said, oh, yeah, you're right, because snitch isn't when you're involved in it. I said, exactly. You did the right thing. Okay, you told because that was your friend. He was going to get hurt. You don't know. You got to take stuff like that seriously. And given the fact that this kid actually did bring a knife to do him harm, there's no telling what would have happened if he didn't say anything to his friend, to the teachers about his friend. So the threat was very real. Given that he had that experience, it's manifested in his mind that anybody that, could potentially do him harm needs to die. So as he was telling the story, and he finished telling the story, all I could do was shake my head. And I said, man, you shouldn't have to be dealing with that, man. Now, don't get me wrong. I've dealt with some stuff at a young age in my school. not necessarily me, you know, just secondhand, third party. I've seen things happen. I've heard things that were about to happen. So this isn't new. It's just that, you know, being older now and just, these are kids, man. These kids shouldn't have to be dealing with that. You know, they just deal with stupid stuff, you know, but these are serious times we live in. We've always lived in serious times. I hate when people make it seem like times was never serious. I don't know about anybody else. We've always lived in serious times. You know, it's just all in your face now with social media and the news and the coverage and stuff like that. But that's here nor there. You know, I was talking to the little man and I said, hey, look, do you believe that all your enemies should die? He said, yes. Everybody that's against me should die. I said, do you believe that people can change? Mind you, the van got quiet. All the kids, everybody stopped talking. Like, everybody's still talking while me and him was going back and forth. At this point in the conversation, it just got real. So everybody stopped talking and they just listening. So he said, no, people can't change. He said, this kid did this. He said, this kid, he had a history of doing this. He did it before. He can't change. He can't change. He did it before. He'll do it again. I said, how many times has this happened to you? He said, well, no, it's just the one kid. So I explained. I said, okay, so you feel like you have an enemy, not enemies. He said, yeah. I don't know why I said S. Yeah. You got to talk to kids, man. You know, you'll get to the root of things. You just have to keep it going, keep peeling the layers back, and you'll get to the bottom of something, you know? Kids are kids, you know? So I said, okay, so do you believe that this kid deserves to die because he did something very bad? He would have potentially done something evil, you know, negative, whatever, and he has a history of doing this. So you believe that he should die? He said, yes. I said, okay. So I guess as a child, you know, when you feel like you said something wrong, it's not a matter of guessing. You know how kids are. They can sense when, you know, the conversation is about to take a left, right? So he instantly proceeded to say, I'm going to change my wish. No, I'm going to change my wish. I don't want my enemies. I was like, no. And I stopped him. I said, no, little man, no, listen. I said, listen, you listening? He said, yeah. I said, I'm not talking to you to change your mind. I'm not telling you what you feel is wrong. Because I don't know how I would feel as an 11-year-old and some kid threatened my friend. And I believe I'm doing the right thing and told somebody, and this kid coming back threatens me and brings a knife to do me harm. I don't know how that would have affected me as an 11-year-old. That affects people, man. That I couldn't work my mouth to tell this kid that, no, you can't have that thought. You can't think like that. People can. I couldn't even work my mouth to say that to him. Because what he experienced caused him to feel that way. This wasn't something he seen on TV. This wasn't something that, I mean, it could have potentially been something that somebody like beaten in his head, but he experienced this firsthand. So, you know, I explained to him, you know, look, listen, kid, I'm not here to force you to change your mind. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong for thinking that. No. I listened to your story. I see where your thought came from. I just want you to know, and I explained to him, I just want you to know that there are bad people in the world, yes. But and I'm not telling you you should change your mind and anything like that. But I'm telling you this, though. At the very least, take this. People can change. Okay? He was like, okay. I said, people can change. Not everybody does, okay? That's the thing. And I had to explain to him, don't confuse what I'm saying. Don't confuse that I'm saying that everybody does change. No, everybody doesn't change. Everybody doesn't change. Don't ever, and I used to hear that all the time. Everybody changes. No. Like, and as far, I should have probably explained this a little bit better to him. See, now I just realized what I said. You change. You can change for the worst, or you can change for the better. in contact, well, I'm guessing he got what I was saying. In contact, you know, in with this conversation, I was explaining to him, you know, with the whole, because he's seen the kid as just bad. So I just didn't want him to, you know, see bad people and just say that bad people are just bad people. Yes, bad people can change for the worse, can continue to be bad. But there are bad people that can change for the better, that can be good, that can turn things around. Obviously, good and bad is depending upon your perspective and whatever like that. We're not getting into all of that. Just, I'm talking to a kid, we keeping it simple. And I said to him, listen, people can change, okay? People don't always change. Some people still stay the same. But people can change. You understand? He said, yeah. I said, and I just want you to always know that. You know? I'm not telling you to change your mind. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. You know? I just want you to understand, even if this kid doesn't ever change, and he could change. I explained that to him. I said, this kid could change. You'd be surprised on some of the things that people have done in their lives. And you can look at these court systems. You can look at these jails. You can look at these police. That when you have that type of thinking, it sends you down the wrong path. Because once you sit there and you just look at somebody and you said they did this, oh, they're still the same. You're just as bad as all these other people out here that has the prejudices against people. You're just as bad. So, you know, I explained that to him in a little better sense, you know, but, you know, and I told him, I said, look, you know, you have to understand that people do make mistakes in life. People, and just as I said, you see how I explained that I understand where you're coming from, so I'm not going to tell you what to feel. I don't know what that little man has been through. I don't know what he has to deal with in his household. Now, I didn't go too far into it with him. You know, that's just getting a little deep, you know, into things, because when you think about it, you don't know what that other little man was dealing with. Yeah, I know some people are going to say, well, there's no excuse for him to bring a knife and try to... He could have... I know it seems like I'm giving him an excuse to be a certain way, but I'm just like, look, as kids are so impressionable, kids take in what they see. Kids are affected by the things that their parents have done to them. Kids are affected from the moment they're in the womb. Kids are affected by what the parents are doing, regardless of, you know, what they're putting in their bodies, what they're, you know, listening to, what they're, you know, just anything, the environment they're around, anything. From the second a child is conceived, they're being affected by the outside world, by the decisions of another person. I don't know what that little man had to deal with growing up. I don't know what, as an 11-year-old, the things he's seen and the things that he has to live with and how his mind interprets certain things. Why on God's green earth would he say he's going to bring the knife and stab the little man? And then next thing you know, the other little man, you know, says something, gets him in trouble. So he says, oh, okay, you want to go telling on people? I'm going to come after you. And really brings a knife to school. You know, it's a lot, man. And that's the thing, yo. These kids are so impressionable. And yeah, I could have left it alone. I could have not said nothing to the little man. I could have had him just have his thoughts and keep it moving. But I feel strongly about kids, and I feel strongly about how impressionable they are and the things that they take in. And you know, these kids, from a better part of this week, you know, for the most part, they're in their phones. They're listening to foolishness. They're watching foolishness. I'm listening to them. They listening to cussing and this and that. And I'm not saying we ain't listening to cussing and all that type of stuff, but I'm just saying, they watching twerking and on their phone. They got YouTube. They can look up whatever and this and that. They can see stuff. I'm pretty sure they probably look up porn or whatever, you know, other stuff. You know, these kids are impressionable. They're sponges. They take in what people say to them, what people do to them. So I just felt like I just wanted to drop a little wisdom on the little man, and just hopefully, you know, maybe one day when somebody does do something wrong to him and that person turns their life around, you know, maybe in the back of his mind he'll say, you know, Mr. Mike did tell me that people can change. People has the potential to change. But what do I know, right?